Hello well-wishers and welcome to my channel Aspiring Minds. In today's video, we are going to discuss a poem by Leigh Hunt called The Glove and the Lions. So grab your virtual seats and let's begin. In this video, you can expect the background and the context of the poem. I'm going to discuss the line-by-line meaning of each of the stanzas of the poem, and we are going to discuss the 4 important themes of the poem in details. Let's learn a little bit about Leigh Hunt. He was an English critic, essayist and a poet known for his involvement in the Romantic literary movement. He was a contemporary of poets like Lord Byron, John Keats and Percy Bysshe Shelley. His works often reflected his radical views on politics and society. He was influential in shaping the literary tastes of the early 19th century. The Glove and the Lions is based on a legend or a story and was first published in the year 1828 by Leigh Hunt. The poem is inspired by an anecdote or an instance which happened at the court of King Francis I of France, who reigned during the early 16th century. According to the tale, there was a noble woman who dropped her glove into a lion's den as a test of her lover's devotion. Now this incident, rich with elements of chivalry, courage and irony, captured the attention and imagination of many writers and artists over the centuries. I always tell you the central message of the poem in the very beginning so that before you go into the line-by-line understanding of the poem, you have an overall fair amount of idea. So the central message of this poem revolves around the themes of love, bravery and the mistake that people make of being excessively proud and vain. The poem explores the lengths to which people will go to prove their love and the consequences of their actions. It critiques the superficiality of romantic gestures, that is, you try to perform grand elaborate gestures in trying to praise the lover, but in reality it is the small things that matter, because ultimately love is backed by the genuine emotions, not public display. Let us now discuss the line-by-line meaning of the poem. King Francis was a hearty king and loved royal sport, and one day as his lions fought, sat looking on the court. The nobles filled the benches and the ladies in their pride, and amongst them sat the Count de Lorge, with one for whom he sighed. And truly it was a gallant thing to see that crowning show, valor and love, and a king above and the royal beasts below. So basically during earlier times it was a common practice to engage in royal sports. We have also seen it in many of Shakespeare's plays, and in general also kings would indulge in royal sports, like some at that time would go hunting and other such things, or they would see a duel being performed where they would see 2 knights fighting against each other. So that same kind of a setup happens over here. That is the setting of the poem, and here you will see there are ladies, men, all are seated all around, and there is going to be a royal sport over here. We of course have King Francis, and along with that we have Count de Lorge. So the poet sets the scene at the court of King Francis, where a spectacle of lion fighting is going to take place. That is the royal sport in this context. The king, along with his courtiers and ladies, including the Count de Lorge and also his beloved, come here to watch this fight or combat between the lions. The poet admires the grandness of this event, which symbolizes courage, love and royalty. You can imagine so many people of the royal family seated in one place, all there to watch a fight that would happen between the lions. So you can see, just as in today's times we go to cinema or movie halls, in those times this was a mode of entertainment for them. Stanza 2. Ramped and roared the lions with horrid laughing jaws. They bit, they glared, gave blows like beams. A wind went with their paws. With wallowing might and stifled roar, they rolled on one another, till all the pit with sand and mane was in a thunderous smother. The bloody foam above the bars came whisking through the air. Said Francis then, "Faith, gentlemen, we are better here than there." So basically in this stanza we see that fight between the lions begin. The poet describes this ferocious battle that takes place among the lions. The beasts clash with tremendous force, of course, because we have the kings of jungle rather, who are fighting over here. They are roaring and striking at each other fiercely, and this particular image which has been depicted of the chaotic scene with sand and foam flying as the lions are fighting with one another is very beautifully done by the poet. King Francis then goes on to remark on the safety of their position. He is saying that thank God, you all my guests, you don't need to worry. We are at a very safe distance rather than being in the middle of danger, because generally if you see lions around you, you are naturally bound to be scared. But here, because it is a royal sport, special arrangements have been made to witness this, right? So he is assuring the people who are watching this spectacle, don't worry, we are at a safe distance and you can enjoy this moment without feeling scared. You are all safe. Stanza 3. De Lorge's love overheard the king, a beauteous, lively dame with smiling lips and sharp bright eyes, which always seemed the same. She thought, the Count my lover is brave as brave can be. He surely would do wondrous things to show his love of me. King, ladies, lovers, all look on, the occasion is divine. I'll drop my glove to prove his love, great glory will be mine. So here we see, in the middle of all this spectacle, De Lorge's beloved has an idea coming to her when she hears the speech of the king, where he had just reassured that we are all at a safe distance. Now generally this beloved was a beautiful dame. She had very bright eyes and she was a beautiful looking lady. However, there is a strange idea that comes in her mind. She wants to test her lover, that is, he wants to test De Lorge. And what does she do? She says that my Count is very, very brave, and if I drop my glove in the lion's den, he is surely going to bring it for me. And then when people watch this, that he has performed such a great act by risking his life, by stepping into a dangerous situation, everyone is going to admire the Count for his love and admiration. Now, convinced by the bravery of the Count, she decides to drop her glove into the lion's den, expecting him to retrieve it, to recover it, to bring it back as a gesture of his love, affection and courage. So let's see whether that happens or not. Now, this is a very important parallel thought process that came to me. In the feudal system, a count was a nobleman who held high-ranking position in the social hierarchy, typically just below a duke. Counts were generally granted authority over a specific geographical region, and they exercised administrative, judicial and military powers within their territories, acting as representatives of the king. Okay, that is who a count is. Now, in The Glove and the Lions, we see Count de Lorge is a fictional character who represents a nobleman of high status and courage. He is depicted as a person who is a romantic figure caught in the, plan of portraying chivalry and courtly love. While he may not be a real historical figure, his portrayal reflects the ideals and values which are associated when one belongs to the aristocratic class. Now, the poet uses the Count's character to explore the themes of bravery, love and the complexities of human relationships within the context of courtly life. Stanza 4. She dropped her glove to prove his love, then looked at him and smiled. He bowed and in a moment leaped among the lions wild. The leap was quick, return was quick. He has regained his place. Then threw the glove, but not with love, right in the lady's face. "By God," said Francis, "rightly done." And he rose from where he sat. "No love," quoth he, "but vanity sets love a task like that." Alright, so we see that in the final stanza, Count de Lorge is activated by the challenge of his beloved. He boldly leaps or jumps into the lion's den to get back the glove that the lover has thrown into the den. He swiftly recovers the glove and throws it back towards her. However, instead of expressing his love for the beloved, his action is seen as an act of vanity and pride. King Francis acknowledges the Count's courage, but at the same time criticizes the superficiality of this entire test. That is, even the king did not like the idea of how their relationship was subjected to a test of this kind, emphasizing that true love cannot be proven through such artificial challenges. So overall, we can see that the poem includes these four themes. That is, we can look at it from the angle of love and devotion, bravery and courage, vanity and pride, and lastly a figure of speech, that's irony. Let us discuss each of these themes in details now. Now, to talk about love and devotion, we see that the poem deals with the intricate nature of love and devotion. The poem depicts a noble woman's attempt to test her lover's affection by dropping her glove into a lion's den, expecting him to retrieve it as a proof of his love. Now, this theme also highlights the lengths to which individuals may have to go in order to prove or demonstrate their commitment and loyalty to their beloved. However, the poem also suggests that true love cannot be measured by elaborate grand gestures or public displays alone. It requires sincerity, trust, and emotional connection beyond other small acts of exhibiting one's love, emotions, or feelings. Secondly, I would like to discuss vanity and pride, because the poem critiques these two ideas. The very fact about noblewoman's decision to test her lover's devotion by dropping her glove is an example of her being vain and proud. Her actions reflect a desire for public admiration. She is wanting public acceptance. She wants to perhaps nail this idea into the heads of the public that the Count really loves her. She is trying to, we could say, seek validation rather than having genuine concern for authenticity of her lover's feelings. Similarly, the Count's response, though he is trying to act courageous, is also full of vain thoughts, because he also jumps into the den trying to prove his courage. He should have, tried to have a private discussion with her that what you did is not right, but he also proves his bravery by recovering that glove that had been thrown into the den, and then he disrespects her in front of the public. So through these two characters, the poem highlights the dangers of allowing vanity and pride to overshadow the important aspects of a relationship, that is sincerity, depth, loyalty. Now, bravery and courage are the central themes in the poem, particularly exhibited by Count de Lorge's bold leap into the lion's den to retrieve the glove. His daring action symbolizes the willingness to face danger and adversity for the sake of love, and more importantly for the sake of honor, to get validation from the public. The portrayal of the lion's ferocious battle also highlights the theme of bravery, as the creatures fiercely engage in a combat without fear. However, the poem also questions whether acts of bravery are always driven by genuine emotions, or if they can be influenced by other motives such as vanity. The lover did not like the fact that he was subjected to a challenge like this in front of the public. However, he also did not want to, give up so easily. So you see, it is not just a challenge given to a lover, but it is a dual challenge, because he is also trying to satisfy his male ego, because if he wouldn't have done that as a man, he would have been considered weak in front of the public. So he was trying to display that, and at the same time it also displays how societal pressure can also come in between a romantic relationship. Finally, we see the figure of speech, that is irony, is also there in the poem. The irony lies in the contrast between the noblewoman's expectation of a grand romantic gesture and the Count's practical response to the situation when he throws the glove on her face. While the Count fulfills her challenge by retrieving the glove, his act lacks that genuine emotion that she had predicted or anticipated, resulting in her own embarrassment. And at the same time, the king also did not quite like this whole situation that had taken place. So the poem highlights how relationships can be unpredictable, and you cannot predict human nature, where intentions and actions may not always align with what we think. So that's it from this video. I hope you liked it. Do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more such future updates. Thank you for watching. Bye.